Good morning, everyone. This is Carla Hansen with Purple Lamb Fiber Arts, and today is October 25th, but you won't be seeing this for a while. This is a reveal of all the colorways from this year's Advent calendar, which is based on The Lord of the Rings, and specifically based on Aragorn's journey through The Lord of the Rings. If you see a little bit of a mess in the background, please forgive me. I've got boxes everywhere as I'm preparing to get these all boxed up and shipped out to everybody who ordered one. Let me just give you a quick little sweep of all the colorways so you can see them one after the other, and then I will go back with some explanation about each one. One thing to note is that there will be a lot of spoilers about The Lord of the Rings in this. So if you have not yet read The Lord of the Rings, you should probably just leave now and after you see the colorways all by themselves. Anyway, all right. So that is all 24 mini skeins, and then let's go back to the beginning here. This is the main skein that goes with the Advent calendar this year. I'm using Deborah Bowenko's pattern called the Alsatian Advent Wrap, which she designed, or rather expanded, just for this year's Advent calendar. So it's going to be delightful. It includes beads, and well, here we go. All right, let's start with so you'll start with the first colorway, which is called Mithril. This colorway was inspired by the shirt that Frodo uses to protect himself, and also the elven treasure that Aragorn in many ways represents. So, all right, going on. This first mini skein, so if you've got the kit, or if you had the kit, or if you didn't have the kit, this will be the first skein in a little tiny box that you'll get to open, and it's going to say the Prancing Pony. So the Prancing Pony is where Frodo and Sam and Pippin and Merry first met Aragorn. And think warm and cozy. Throughout this whole thing, I guess I should mention, I use sort of a symbol set for different colors. So when you see deep red, that usually represents something evil. And when you see the blues and the greens and the browns, it's kind of earthy and warm, and purple is for royalty, as in Aragorn. So anyway, let's go on. All right. The second colorway, so they head off with Aragorn, who seems rather sketchy to begin with, but they wore up to him over time. This next colorway is Weathertop, where they run into the Nazgul for the first time, or for the first time with Aragorn, and Frodo is seriously injured. So the green and the brown that you see here are a symbol for Weathertop's location, nature, just a place, a lookout spot, but then the dark red is for the Nazgul who attack there. Then the next colorway is the Council of Elrond. They've arrived at Rivendell. Frodo has been as healed as he can be from the injury he sustained at the hands of the Nazgul. And here you have golds and greens and browns, and think of the beautiful nature of the elves, but this is the city of the elves, if you will, and a safe place for all, that as long as Middle-earth holds, Rivendell will hold, they said. All right, next they head on. Well, before they leave Rivendell, Aragorn has the sword that was used thousands of years before reforged. It was broken, and I won't go into the entire story, but here you've got gold and silver and bronze, so the colors of the sword itself. It's called the Forging of Anduril. All right, next they leave. The company of 9 is created, and they are heading off to hopefully destroy the ring. So the first way they go is the Pass of Caradhras. However, they are not able to get over it. So here you have the white snow along with the dark red and black and gray of the evil forces holding them back from being able to pass the mountain, cross the mountain. So then they must go a deeper and darker way through Moria or Khazad-dûm. So this is called the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, which is where Gandalf falls. So you see there's some similarities here between this one and this one, but this is even darker still, with dark browns and grays to represent the passages through this deep dark tunnel and cave and underground kingdom. And then the red and the black to represent the Balrog that attacks and appears to kill Gandalf. Next, with great sadness in their hearts, they finally arrive in the woods of the elves, Lothlorien, where Galadriel and her husband still reign in relative peace, but they say this land is dying, so the trees, the Malorn trees, are no longer in full bloom, but have become silver. So the base of this color is silver for that, and then lots of greens and golds, and browns and purple for the royalty, the regalness of Galadriel and her spouse, whose name escapes me at the moment. Next is they leave Lothlorien and are trying to figure out which way to go, so they take the Great River. And so here you see watercolors. There's blue and green and, blue and green. And as they're traveling down the river together, and they see the statues of the great kings from a mightier age of men. Next, they arrive at Amon Hen, where they have to decide what are they going to do now. How are they going to continue this journey? Because some of them want to go to Gondor to protect it, and others need to go and destroy the ring. In the end, the decision sort of comes to them. Frodo and Sam leave, and meanwhile, orcs attack Merry and Pippin and take them, and Boromir, in trying to protect them, in spite of his own temptation, ends up dying. So then Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli are trying to track down the hobbits who were taken by the orcs, taken to Saruman or Sauron, and here we are. So then the next one is called Chasing Orcs and Hobbits. So this is Gimli and Legolas and Aragorn trying to track down the hobbits and save them from the orcs. So here you have purples and browns and greens, and a little bit of the red that is representing the evil orcs. All right, next up is the Riders of Rohan. Just as they are coming to the point where they think, well, are we ever going to find them? Have they all been destroyed? They see the Rohirrim. So this is like a race of men and women who are, well, think Spartans. They're similar to the Spartans. So lots of green, lots of, because here we are in the fields as they're trying to, as they're meeting them and trying to, forge a new alliance, you might say, which they succeed in doing. And then they head on to Rohan. Some time passes, and we have the White Rider. So the White Rider is Gandalf, returned from the dead? It's not really clear. Does he remain alive? Is it a resurrection? It could be either one. So you have mostly white with a little bit of gold and gray and blue. Next up is the King of the Golden Hall, when Gandalf and Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas go to Theoden, who has been bewitched by someone in the pay of Saruman. So, but Gandalf manages to unbewitch him and get him regally on their side. So here again, I think this is one of my favorites. It's browns and greens and gold and bronze. I tried to keep the colors that I use in this pretty tight throughout. I think there are a total of maybe 8 different colors plus speckles, so that they would all blend well together. Anyway, so this is Theoden. Think ancient hall of a king. All right. Next, because there is an attack going, Theoden sends his people to Helm's Deep, where the many are taking care of protecting them, though they lose many. So here you've got the grays and the browns of stone, plus the dark wine dark sea color of the evil orcs in the battle. All right. Next is the Palantir. So Aragorn, Gandalf says, "Take back your own," after one of the hobbits looks in the Palantir, which is like a means of communicating, and he sees Sauron, but Aragorn is able to misguide him purposefully so that he doesn't, so as to protect the hobbits a little bit longer. So this is called the Palantir. The next one is again one of my favorites. Aragorn has decided that the best means of helping in the war is to go via the paths of the dead. So he plans to do that, but on his way, Éowyn, who is the shield maiden of Rohan, tries to stop him. So this is kind of all the colors of Aragorn and the colors of Éowyn together, as she stops and says, "Please don't go this way. We need your help in Gondor. Why are you throwing your life away?" But in fact, that's not what he's doing. And so he goes on to the paths of the dead, which is, think ghostly white. So there's browns and grays and purple for Aragorn in here. And he succeeds. He succeeds in getting these old kings of old who had not fulfilled their oaths to do so, and then frees them. Kind of wonder why he didn't keep them a little longer. The next is the Pelennor Fields, where Faramir, at the request, you could say, of his father, who's grieving the loss of his brother Boromir, goes in this desperate battle, which they are sure to lose, and in fact they do. But again, they're keeping off the evil hordes for as long as they can. The next one is called the Hands of the King, and this is from a phrase that I love, and this is a regular colorway of mine. I think just one of two from the whole set. It's called the Hands of the King are the hands of a healer. So they know Aragorn is the king, or they suspect it. They begin to suspect it because he is able to heal those who were injured in the horrible battle in a way that no one else can. All right. Next up, the Black Gates open. So in desperation, those who are not Frodo and Sam and Smeagol / Gollum are trying to keep Sauron's eyes from finding them. So they actually go to the gates of Mordor, which are black, and it's called the Black Gate opens. So here we've got even darker than ever before, reds and blacks and grays to represent, well, the kingdom of Sauron, Mordor. All right, so they win. Everything goes well. They survive, and Aragorn, after having a steward for, I think, thousands of years in Gondor, is crowned king once again. So this is called the coronation of Aragorn. It's another of my favorites. It's got all the earth tones plus the purple of his majesty. And then finally, after hundreds of years, at least nearly 100 years of this long-lived race, we have the wedding between Aragorn and Arwen, who have loved long and waited to marry until he was king, according to her father Elrond's requirements. So here we have white for the wedding, and purple and blue and green, and it's just lovely, and it's like this little bright spot in the midst of all this darkness. Next, after the wedding comes, of course, a funeral. So this is the funeral of King Theoden, but I didn't make it dark because he died with honor. He died fighting for his people, and he died actually happy for having done so and coming out from his dotage to being fully a king again of his people. All right, and the very last colorway is called Many Partings. This is near the end, at least the end of the part that shows Aragorn, when the hobbits begin to return home via Rivendell, Aragorn and his company return back to Gondor, where he is king. And yeah, that is the last one. You'll see that the last one and the first one are very similar, and that's intentional. And I think that's everything. I hope that if you got one of these, you really enjoy it. This was the last year that I'm doing the Lord of the Rings. I've done it twice. Last year I did Frodo and Sam's journey, and this year I've done Aragorn's journey. And next year, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing, but it won't be Lord of the Rings next year, much as I love it, and I hope you do as well. The next step here, so the first step was getting all of these in sets of 5, and then dyeing up each of the colorways, creating and dyeing up each of the colorways, making sure that they would both look good together but also be faithful to what they were trying to portray. And then next up, I'm going to be taking each of these and putting it in a little box with the name of the colorway, the number of the colorway, and a couple other little goodies to go along with it, and the pattern. And then I'll be shipping them off in plenty of time to make their way to those of you who order them before December 1st. So as I said, today is October 25th, and as soon as I'm done with this, I'll be back to my regular dye schedule, and I'm looking forward to that as well, though this has been just a delight to make all of these, and I did save one for myself this year, so I'm looking forward to knitting it right along with all of you. All right, have a wonderful new year. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.